Since the dark depths of time, humans sought the warmth of light. Toiling long, hard days, they fled from the shadows of time, and now nothing would stop them. Some 450,000 years ago, the first people who occupied this land split into small groups and settled on river terraces, subsisting as hunter-gatherers. Cows, horses, goats and deer were the animals they hunted, and fruits, nuts and roots the foods they gathered. They knew how to control fire, and their technology was based on large, heavy stone tools used to survive and obtain food. Little by little, they intensified their exploitation of the environment in which they lived and made increasingly efficient and specialized weapons and tools. New tools and hunting strategies enabled them to survive the changes in temperature that swept across the planet. These slow but inexorable changes ushered in a new period during which plants flourished and multiplied in forests and meadowlands. The abundance of water also promised more fruit and nourishment. The landscape and climate were changing. In 5500 BC, the introduction of farming techniques permitted the burning and clearing of forests to obtain more fertile land on which to develop a stable agricultural system. Animal husbandry became a productive activity. As well as obtaining food, they learned how to use beasts for their own benefit, as draft animal power, and for meat, hide, fat and bones, all of which made their daily tasks easier and faster to perform. The population grew steadily. This demographic increase gave rise to the creation of villages with infrastructures for storing food, looking after animals, and providing daily shelter. The knowledge acquired eventually enabled them to make another great leap through the introduction of pottery. They made their own vessels for storing and cooking food, and new ways of eating meat and cereals emerged. An uneasy consciousness led them to reflect on life and death. Their beliefs evolved, and large collective funerary monuments in the form of tumuli, the so-called mamoas, began to appear. During the 3rd millennium BC, the consolidation of metalworking brought about an important change in their lifestyle. Novel utensils and tools were incorporated into their daily routines. These early settlers were no longer alone. They traded their surplus products, and new objects and raw materials arrived, enabling them to acquire a knowledge of hitherto unknown technologies. The exploitation of the environment increased considerably, while the abundance of products enabled the rich and powerful to accumulate them. This gave rise to an elite, creating social inequalities between the members of the community. Warriors enjoyed a high social status, as demonstrated by the bronze weapons and their jewelry, especially the ornaments made of gold. The petroglyphs, or rock engravings, evidence rich and increasingly important symbolic beliefs. They also reaffirm the idea of masculine values and hunting as symbolic elements. These settlers sought to differentiate themselves. This is evidenced by the fact that they hid jewelry and weapons, which confirms the existence of a genuine social elite who owned these items and exerted their power over the other members of the community. The people who reached the Bronze Age were very different from the primitive nomads of the beginning of time.